Hello and good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Tropics Talk. Meteorologist Jim Dickey here in the ABC 7 Weather Center in Fort Myers, Florida. And let's get right to it. We look across the tropical Atlantic, two areas the Hurricane Center is monitoring this morning, two tropical waves. And I want to start by saying, it's pretty early in the season to be tracking these types of disturbances, these waves, these disturbances that come off the coast of Africa and work westward. Usually, it's not until we get until August and September that we really start to pay closer attention to those types of disturbances. They tend to be those long track tropical storms and hurricanes over the years. I think back to some like say Irma, that form up just off the coast of Africa. We track them all the way across the tropical Atlantic into the Caribbean, and then occasionally they become some stronger hurricanes that impact the United States. Usually this time of year, there's too much wind shear, too much dry air, and the waters aren't warm enough for these disturbances to even have a chance to develop. But, again, the Hurricane Center watching because the models suggest, there's a chance. The first one actually looked like it was on its way to trying to become a tropical depression yesterday, but as we zoom in on the satellite presentation this morning, you can see what's going on. What was once some heavy thunderstorm activity, some strong convection getting absolutely ripped apart by wind shear, by westerly wind shear. Note, sort of in the center of your screen, when you go away from those oranges and yellows, you see how the clouds are moving from west to east, all of the sort of bright white clouds moving from west to east. That's that stronger wind shear that low-level little spin is encountering now. As you look at the current wind shear, again, becoming quite strong in the vicinity of that storm. So in all likelihood, there's no longer anything to even pick out on the satellite by the time we get to tomorrow and Saturday as that moves towards the Caribbean and gets completely blown apart. So good news there. Hurricane Center only has a 10% chance of further development. With this going forward, perhaps some wind-driven rain for parts of the eastern Caribbean going into Friday and Saturday, but otherwise no further issues from that one. And then we jump to the coast of Africa. Look at all the thunderstorm activity going. It's actually, as we zoom in, some of this activity here that will likely be that tropical wave that emerges and has a chance to develop. But still, a whole lot going on out there here this morning, and the model's really latching on to something, trying to come together out of this broad area of thunderstorm activity as we go through the next couple of days. So here's what the Hurricane Center's latest update says. 20% chance in the next 2 days, 40% chance in the next 5 days. We have at least a tropical depression forming up. Development would likely be gradual. I know it looks like it's well on its way right now, but that thunderstorm activity sort of on the edge of where I have circled is likely to collapse. Again, it's the next wave that sort of comes off that's likely what is able to latch on. The next name on the list, if this took a name, would be Danny, and it would be unprecedented to see something form this early, this far east in the season. Now, if you follow different meteorologists in areas impacted by hurricanes and tropical storms, you likely saw something about this yesterday. This is the 12Z run, so the afternoon run of the European forecast model. Now, what I'm showing you here, these individual lines are tracks that the ensemble forecast. In ensemble, you're taking that European forecast model, you're slightly tweaking the ways it makes its forecast a number of different ways, and then you're running it out. And so you get, 50, 60 different solutions. If they all sort of show the same thing, you're starting to get more confidence in what it's saying. Well, a number of those members of the ensemble forecast showed this becoming not just a tropical storm, but a hurricane, and a strong one at that, a signal that you would see in a mature hurricane in the middle of August on that model. All the oranges, the reds you're seeing are the tracks of, again, a few of these members showing this becoming a hurricane moving across the Caribbean. The good news is the runs from this morning look much more tame. This is that same forecast model, the 0Z run, so it just came in earlier on here this morning. Only a few of them now latching onto this even becoming a tropical storm, and only one of them showing it becoming a hurricane moving into the Caribbean, which is what you would more expect. Again, I'm going to take you through this in just a second, but the conditions just aren't there yet, generally speaking, and even this year, for something to really take off. Could it happen? The model's saying, yeah, pay attention, but I still think you would want to bet the under on that becoming something really significant. And then here's the morning run, the 6Z run of the GFS ensemble, the latest ensemble I have to show you as I'm recording this at 8 o'clock on this Thursday morning. It does, a number of members, a number of lines there showing this becomes perhaps a depression, perhaps a tropical storm. A few of them even ramping it up to hurricane intensity, but nowhere near like that 12Z run of the European was showing yesterday. Now, again, a number of reasons why. First things first, the water temperatures in that part of the basin, at least at this point of the season, still borderline. We're still talking water temperatures barely at that 78-degree threshold across most of that area where this would be moving. And you go a little further north, again, this would be tracking off the coast of Africa. Sorry for the labels moving around, but right around where that 78 is, if it goes any further northward, the waters quickly cool off. Now, once it gets to the Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico, the water's definitely warm enough to support a hurricane. But again, it's still borderline. And along with that, all along this thing is going to be in an area of Saharan dust or dry air that should limit the general convection that goes on with it. As I put the Saharan dust tracker into motion, you can sort of make out on this model. You see sort of that swirling going on there as we get into Saturday. I think that's the model picking up on potential development. But again, even that swirl is completely surrounded by dry Saharan air, by that limiting factor. I would think at somewhat that would try to keep a lid on this from really going off like that 12Z run of the European suggested it could. So hopefully that one run of the European ensemble is just an outlier. But, bottom line, the model's pretty consistent in showing something trying to get going here. And it's definitely something to watch, really the only thing to watch out there as we go through the weekend into next week. So again, sort of takeaways here. 2 tropical waves the Hurricane Center is watching. One that's likely not much longer for this world as it moves towards the Caribbean and gets blasted apart by some strong wind shear. Then that second wave that's going to come off the coast of Africa later on today, tomorrow, that has the potential to be a very early season long track tropical cyclone. It's a bit of a tongue twister. The next name up would be Danny, possibility. Danny's already off the board before we get to July. We would be right on pace then with the historic 2020 season at that point. But hey, some good news. Even if this does come together, we have a long time to watch it before it gets anywhere close to land, let alone the United States. There's absolutely no threats to the U.S. at this point in time, at least not through the weekend. But we'll be watching everything out there as we go into next week for sure. Until next time, I'm meteorologist Jim Dickey. Have a good day.